What's on your mind, Alicia Mackay?
Heroes.
Oh, yeah. Heroes.
Yeah. I've got a hero problem. I'm sick of heroes.
I'm sorry. Would you like me to leave?
No, I'm sick of heroes. I'm sick of heroes' journeys. I'm sick of hero narratives. I'm sick of all of it.
What do you want to replace it with?
Reality. Systems.
So, okay, two things there. Reality
There's a
and
bunch
systems.
of stuff I want to replace it with. One of them is reality. So one thing that I've noticed, well, always, but particularly over the last few weeks, is how many of the people I know and the people I work with are just in a bit of a slump. And I don't know how much of it's like wintry, seasonal affective stuff and how much of it's...
I think there's an empathy slump. I'm sick of being empathetic.
Honestly.
Yeah. Anyway.
There's a slump in energy. There's a slump in focus. People don't know if it's that or if it's COVID or if it's lockdown or if they should project it into their work or their relationship or their children, or there's just this slump, right? And I feel as though we only hear about people's slumps when it's part of a hero narrative. So,
oh yeah,
here's this hard thing I went through that I'm now better for. Here's this hard thing I went through that I beat and you can too. Here's the 5 tips that psychiatrists don't want you to know. You know, psychiatrists hate this podcast.
Yeah, and you'll come out the other side and everything will be better and you'll be bigger.
And you'll come out the other side and we all go through crap and then we're better for it. And you and I have been guilty of a little bit of that, don't you think? Of course it does. But you and I often do this like, yes, it's hard right now, but it's all going to be worth it because we'll get real change. And sometimes it's just not worth it. And sometimes being a hero is not what's needed. And sometimes it's okay to just suck.
Yeah, I like it. Tell me about, you also said, I want to change it out and put systems in. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like that. It's this idea that the system's what creates the results rather than the person itself, right? Themselves.
Because heroes beat the odds.
Yeah.
But systems change the odds.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, that's a good saying.
Yeah, it's quite good, isn't it?
You should write that down.
I'm going to write that down.
Yeah.
How good was that?
Awesome, capture
because
that.
Because heroes are like, here's this big challenge I've had to face and you wouldn't think I can get through it, but I'm going to work so many hours and I'm going to pull off the impossible and I'm going to tap into this resilience that you wouldn't have thought, but here we are.
Yeah.
Systems are like, hey, the default is okay.
Yeah.
And that's what we're lacking.
And I reckon that there's a link though because current systems give us our current results, and there has to be some sort of, so we need to change the system energy, which has to come from individuals or an individual to work that, right? So there is something, and I don't know if you call that heroic, I think you just call that smart, right? To be able to go, I'm not going to push against the system. That's like trying to push against a 50-foot wave and beat it. It doesn't happen.
And it's selfish because it means that only you can achieve in spite of your environment, right? So what I might say is that systems leaders or systems changers are the real heroes.
Absolutely. That's what I would say too.
Yeah.
That the ones who can go, it doesn't need to be about me proving to myself that I can do some stuff or proving to anyone else how awesome I am. It's actually, we want some different outcomes. What's the system? What do we need to tweak? Who do I need to bring in?
Yeah.
That's heroic, but it's not glamorous.
No. So I've been thinking about this a bit on a personal level lately where I've always been a bit of a hero or thought of myself as one. And, I beat the odds. It was like teen mum, foster kid.
That is your story.
No education, terrible family. And I've watched all the people that I grew up with, end up on the benefit or in prison or on drugs. And I beat the odds and I didn't do that. But I shouldn't have to beat the odds. Like, kids like me should be able to have the option or the default of a good and happy life without having to beat the odds.
That's great, mate. I mean, I've become quite interested recently on this whole wellbeing economics framework, right? Which is essentially speaking exactly into that. How do we, the purpose of economics or an economic system is to enable a good life for everyone, right? And so if we can set up a system where that happens and everyone can have access to that, then job done. But it's not about having to create more heroes who fight against the system.
That's
what a
the
waste
problem.
of energy.
But we've got this weird, meritocracy mindset all the time where we think we want that, but actually we like pinning success on individuals and we're like, hey, if you were really worth it, if you worked really hard, if you were actually a good person, there's this assumption that if you have the right character, you'll be okay.
Then
And we
you'll beat the
believe
system.
that. Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Why do we deify those sorts of people? There's a good word, eh?
Deify. I'm not sure if I have the answer to that. Maybe it's because we need to believe that we've got that in ourselves. We glamorise those traits in others because we want to believe that can
I
be
think
us.
you're right. I think to look to people to be inspired, you go, oh, they're human being, I'm a human being, therefore I'm capable of that. There's something about that. It's when we go, oh no, they are exceptional, they're different, that's when we fuck it all up.
And then it's othering, right? And so the only time you hear
Yep.
the only time you get the voice of the disabled on the news is when they've made it to the Paralympics. And the only time you hear from the poor or the disenfranchised is when they've turned their life around.
Yeah.
And what if we were just putting shitty, poor, sad, average people on the radio and on the news and on the internet, and it was like, this is life, that's okay.
Yeah.
What if we did that? What if we had actual voices part of the conversation that weren't either the elite or the heroes?
I wrote a while ago this blog called This Is Hard.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm sick of the leader who comes in to, those traditional leadership programs, and you wheel in the more senior leader who goes, let me tell you my stories about what I've learned about leadership. And then they start to talk all about the stuff that you need to do. We had one of them last week. And I'm like, ugh.
Awkward.
And so my call was to go, how about we have leaders to come in and go, what are you wrestling with right now? And what's hard about that? What's hard? What are you struggling with? Let us help you. Let's be in this together. Get off your stage and come and sit with us.
Yeah.
Way more powerful when you have those sorts of stories. There's a call to something different than be a hero like me.
I like that. Are you sick of heroes like I am? Do you currently operate in a system or a team or an organisation or a family or a society where it feels as though beating the odds is a goal worth achieving, where if you're really made of the right stuff, you can make it happen, and if you don't, you just don't feel good, then there's something wrong with you? Maybe that needs to change.